Fire burns, obviously. We've all known this our whole lives. We've seen it, felt it, been warned about it. Fire equals danger. But pause for a second and really think about it. If I ask you, why does touching fire hurt? Most people answer instantly, because fire is hot. But that's just a word, not an explanation. So then comes the next question. What does hot actually mean? And even deeper, how does pain begin in the first place? Is fire actually attacking you? Or is something else happening? Something you can't see? Between atoms, energy, and your body itself? Think about this. The same fire that instantly burns your skin exists inside the sun, millions of times more powerful. And yet space itself doesn't catch fire. Something in our story is missing. Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists who ever lived, once said that if we truly understand why fire burns, we don't just understand fire, we begin to see reality in a completely new way. So today we're not going to look at fire the way we always have. We're going to follow it deeper, into the invisible processes behind it, into a place where simple things stop being obvious. And by the end of this video, you may never think of fire as obvious again. When we say fire burns, it sounds like fire is doing something active to us, as if fire is a creature attacking your skin. But let's slow down and look carefully. Fire doesn't have hands. It doesn't have teeth. It doesn't even have intention. So what does burning actually mean? Imagine standing in a calm crowd, everyone is still. Nothing happens. Now imagine the same crowd suddenly starts running in all directions, crashing into you again and again. You get hurt, not because the crowd is evil, but because of how fast and forcefully the people are moving. Fire works in a very similar way. Fire itself is not a solid thing you touch. It's a process and a chemical reaction where energy is being released extremely fast. When you put your hand into a flame, the fire isn't attacking you. What's really happening is that energy is rushing into your skin at a speed your body cannot handle. This is where the illusion begins. We look at fire and say, this burns. But burning is not something fire has. Burning is something that happens between fire and you. The same fire that burns your hand can heat food, power engines, or light up a city. Fire doesn't change, the interaction does. Here's a simple thought experiment. If burning were a property of fire itself, then fire should burn everything the same way. But it doesn't. Metal can survive, water can absorb it, air can carry it. Your skin reacts the way it does because it's made of delicate biological structures. When energy floods in too fast, those structures break. And that breakdown is what we experience as burning. A powerful truth hides here. Fire doesn't burn you, processes do. And once you accept that, the question quietly shifts. If fire isn't a thing that hurts us, then what exactly is this energy that's moving so violently? To answer that, we have to zoom in, far smaller than flames, into a world where everything you call heat is actually motion. If fire itself isn't the villain, then the obvious question becomes, what actually causes the pain? Let's start with something very ordinary. Imagine a cup of chai. If cold chai spills on your hand, it feels uncomfortable, maybe annoying. But if hot chai spills on your hand, you pull back instantly. Pain, damage, same liquid, same cup, same hand. So what changed? Not the chai, the energy inside it. This is the key shift in thinking. Burning is not about flames, color, or brightness. Burning is about energy moving from one place to another. Your body is full of energy too. Your skin, your cells, your nerves, all of them are in a delicate balance. When something hotter touches you, energy flows into your body, and it always flows one way, from higher energy to lower energy. Fire just happens to be extremely good at sending energy very fast. Think of it like money. If someone slowly transfers small amounts into your bank account, everything is fine. But imagine $1 billion crashing into your system all at once. Chaos. Your body works the same way. When energy enters your skin gently, like warm sunlight on a winter day, it feels pleasant. But when energy floods in too quickly, like from fire or boiling water, your cells don't get time to adjust. They break. That breaking is not abstract. Proteins lose their shape. Cell walls weaken. Chemical bonds snap. And your nervous system detects this sudden destruction and sounds the alarm we call pain. Here's the quiet but powerful truth hiding underneath all of this. Pain begins when energy moves too fast into your body. Fire isn't special because it's fire. It's special because it transfers energy faster than most things around us. And once you see that, another realization starts to form. If energy flow is the real cause, then what is energy at the deepest level? To answer that, we need to go even smaller. Past fire, past heat, into the invisible motion of atoms themselves. When we talk about heat, we imagine something invisible but substantial, as if heat is a substance that flows into us. But here's the surprising part. Heat is not a thing you can hold. It's not a fluid. It's not even an object. Heat is motion. To see this, we have to shrink ourselves, far beyond flames, down to the level of atoms. Imagine a room full of people standing quietly. They're close but calm, no bumping, no chaos. Now imagine the same room during a concert. Music blasts. Everyone starts dancing wildly, jumping, crashing into each other. The room didn't change. The people didn't change. Only their motion did. Atoms behave the same way. In a cold object, atoms are still moving, but gently, slowly, almost politely. As something gets hotter, those same atoms vibrate faster. They collide harder. They push more aggressively into whatever is nearby. Fire is not a new kind of atom. Fire is what happens when atoms and molecules are supercharged with motion. When a flame touches your skin, the atoms in the flame aren't hot in a poetic sense. They are moving violently, smashing into the atoms of your skin, transferring motion at an incredible rate. Your atoms start vibrating faster too. But they're not built for that speed. Structures begin to fail. Molecules lose their shape, cells fall apart, and suddenly something invisible becomes painfully real. This is where wonder quietly enters the story. Everything around you, solid, liquid, gas, is secretly alive with motion. Your table, your phone, your body. Fire just reveals what was always there. A simple but deep truth emerges. Heat is not a thing, it's motion. And once you accept that, one question naturally follows. If burning is just atoms moving too fast, then why does your body suffer, while some materials survive? To answer that, we have to look not at fire, but at the fragile limits of being human. Now here's where the story suddenly becomes personal. If heat is just motion, and fire is just atoms moving extremely fast, then why doesn't everything burn the same way? Why does your skin suffer almost instantly, while metal can glow red hot and survive? The answer is simple and unsettling. Your body has limits. Think about a phone charger. It's designed for maybe 20 watts of power. Plug it into a 1,000-watt industrial supply and it doesn't feel warm. It destroys itself. Not because electricity is evil, but because the system was never built for that load. Your skin is like that charger. Human skin is a masterpiece of biology, but it's optimized for a very narrow range of energy. Warm sunlight, fine. Body heat, perfect. Even a hot cup of tea, you can pull away in time. Fire doesn't give you that chance. The energy transfer is so fast that your cells can't respond. Proteins, and which must keep very precise shapes to function, start to unfold. Cell membranes lose integrity. Chemical bonds snap before your body can repair them. This happens in milliseconds, and here's the crucial point. Your pain receptors don't detect fire. They detect damage. The moment your cells begin to break down, your nervous system triggers the loudest alarm it has. Not to punish you, but to save you. That sharp, overwhelming pain is your body screaming one message. Stop it now. There's a strange vulnerability in realizing this. You are not weak. You are just finely tuned. Fire crosses that tuning limit instantly. A quiet truth settles in here. Burning is your body saying, this energy is too much. And once you see pain this way, something changes. Pain stops feeling like an enemy and starts looking like a signal. To understand that signal and why it feels the way it does, we now have to step into the brain itself. At this point, it feels like we understand it. Fire transfers energy. Energy increases atomic motion. Your body has limits. It's tempting to stop here and say, okay, that's the answer. But this is exactly where Richard Feynman would stop us. Feynman had a habit of asking uncomfortable questions. Not because he liked confusion, but because he hated fake understanding. He once talked about magnets. If you ask, why does a magnet pull iron? Someone might say, because of magnetic force. That sounds like an explanation, but it's really just a label. So you ask again, why is there magnetic force? And suddenly you realize something unsettling. Every answer opens a deeper why. The same thing happens with fire. We say fire burns because it's hot. Then we say hot means energy transfer. Then we say energy means atomic motion. Each step feels satisfying, until you realize we're just peeling layers. Feynman's honesty was brutal here. He admitted that at some level, physics stops giving everyday explanations and starts giving descriptions of how reality behaves. And that's not a failure. That's the point. Understanding doesn't mean reaching a final sentence where curiosity ends. It means seeing more clearly where the mystery truly lives. There's a quiet awe in this realization. Fire isn't simple, but it's not magical either. It's a window into how the universe works at its deepest level, where interactions matter more than objects, and motion matters more than names. Here's the truth Feynman wanted us to accept. Understanding doesn't end, it only goes deeper. And once you accept that, something interesting happens. You stop asking, why does this hurt? And start asking, what is my body telling me? To answer that, we need to listen to pain itself, and the remarkable system designed to feel it. By now, it should feel clear that fire itself doesn't contain pain. Fire has no awareness of you at all. So why does burning feel so intense, so immediate, so unforgettable? The answer lives inside you. Think about a smoke alarm. It doesn't create fire. It doesn't add danger. It simply reacts loudly when something is wrong. Pain works the same way. When fire transfers energy into your skin, cells begin to break down. The moment this damage crosses a certain threshold, special nerve endings activate. These nerves are not there to make you suffer. They exist to protect you. They send an urgent signal to your brain. Something is damaging the body. Act now. Your brain doesn't measure temperature. It doesn't see flames. It receives information, and burning pain is one of the fastest, strongest messages your nervous system can send. That's why it feels sharp. That's why it demands attention. That's why you pull your hand away before you even think. What you're feeling isn't fire. You're feeling your brain's interpretation of rapidly increasing damage. This changes how pain looks. Pain isn't cruelty built into the universe. It's communication. Without it, you wouldn't survive. People who cannot feel pain often suffer severe injuries without realizing it. Not because they're lucky, but because they're unprotected. There's something deeply reassuring in this. Your body isn't fragile by mistake. It's intelligent by design. A simple truth sits at the center of this lesson. Pain is information, not punishment. And once you see pain as a message instead of an enemy, one final realization begins to emerge. Fire hasn't been teaching us about danger at all. It's been teaching us something much bigger, about how reality itself is built. By now, it should feel clear that fire itself doesn't contain pain. Fire has no awareness of you at all. So why does burning feel so intense, so immediate, so unforgettable? The answer lives inside you. Think about a smoke alarm. It doesn't create fire. It doesn't add danger. It simply reacts loudly when something is wrong. Pain works the same way. When fire transfers energy into your skin, cells begin to break down. The moment this damage crosses a certain threshold, special nerve endings activate. These nerves are not there to make you suffer. They exist to protect you. They send an urgent signal to your brain. Something is damaging the body. Act now. Your brain doesn't measure temperature. It doesn't see flames. It receives information, and burning pain is one of the fastest, strongest messages your nervous system can send. That's why it feels sharp. That's why it demands attention. That's why you pull your hand away before you even think. What you're feeling isn't fire. You're feeling your brain's interpretation of rapidly increasing damage. This changes how pain looks. Pain isn't cruelty built into the universe. It's communication. Without it, you wouldn't survive. People who cannot feel pain often suffer severe injuries without realizing it. Not because they're lucky, but because they're unprotected. There's something deeply reassuring in this. Your body isn't fragile by mistake. It's intelligent by design. A simple truth sits at the center of this lesson. Pain is information, not punishment. And once you see pain as a message instead of an enemy, one final realization begins to emerge. Fire hasn't been teaching us about danger at all. It's been teaching us something much bigger, about how reality itself is built. If we step back now and look at the whole journey, something subtle but powerful appears. We started with fire, something ancient, dangerous, and familiar. But along the way, fire quietly disappeared. What remained was something deeper. Fire wasn't a thing attacking you. Heat wasn't a substance entering your skin. Pain wasn't punishment. Everything turned out to be interaction. Energy moving. Atoms colliding. Signals traveling. Systems responding. This is the bigger reality fire reveals. We're taught to see the world as made of objects. Fire, skin, air, metal. Separate things doing separate actions. But at the deepest level, those boundaries blur. Reality behaves more like a web. Invisible exchanges happening every second, everywhere. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is defined by how it interacts. Fire only exists because fuel, oxygen, and energy meet. Burning only exists because energy flows into living tissue. Pain only exists because the brain interprets damage. Remove the interaction and the thing disappears. This idea stretches far beyond fire. Light exists because electrons change states. Sound exists because air molecules collide. Even time as we measure it exists because change is happening. The universe is not a collection of static things. It's a continuous series of events unfolding. And suddenly Feynman's statement makes sense. Understanding why fire burns doesn't just explain fire. It trains your mind to stop asking, what is this made of? And start asking, what is happening here? That shift is quiet, but life-changing. A final truth gently settles in. The universe is not made of things, it's made of events. And once you see reality this way, you can't unsee it. Every moment becomes a process. Every object becomes a story of interactions. So the next time you see a flame, don't just see danger. See motion, see exchange, see reality revealing itself. And ask yourself, if even fire is not what it seems, what else in your everyday life is only an illusion of stability? If we connect everything we've seen, a quiet but powerful picture comes into focus. We began with something that felt obvious. Fire burns. But step by step, that certainty dissolved. Fire wasn't a villain. Heat wasn't a substance. Pain wasn't cruelty. What we uncovered instead was a universe built on relationships. Energy flowing from one place to another. Atoms dancing at different speeds. Biology responding to limits. The brain translating damage into meaning. Fire didn't just teach us why skin burns. It taught us how reality works. Nothing hurts you because it wants to. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is defined by interaction, exchange, and motion. In that sense, fire is not special. It's just honest. It reveals without mercy what is always happening. That the world is not made of solid, permanent things, but of fragile balances and constant change. And maybe that's the deeper realization. What we call reality is not a collection of objects we touch. It's a continuous process we are part of. Moment by moment, interaction by interaction. So here's a question worth sitting with. If even something as familiar as fire is not really a thing but an event, then how many parts of your everyday life are you mistaking for stable objects when they are actually processes unfolding right now? Think about that. And the next time you see a flame, remember, you're not just looking at fire. You're watching reality in motion.